Welcome back inside the Mountain West Network studio for day 2 of Mountain West Men's Basketball Media Days. He's Jesse Kurtz, I'm Bridget Howard, and we're ready to get this day started. So let's head on out to Logan, Utah, and bring in the head coach of the Utah State Aggies, Ryan Odom. Coach, it's great to see you. You've got your first season down in Utah. What gets you excited about your second season with the Aggies?
Yeah, we're really excited about being here at Utah State for the second season. We feel like we've got a really good team coming back, good core group of leaders, returning specifically on the perimeter. And we've had a great summer and fall to start the year here. And, we're excited to get going, as I'm sure all our Mountain West programs are.
Absolutely. Well, this is just a reminder to our media members that are joining us today that if you have a question for Coach Odom, to please make sure to raise your hand to enter the queue, and we'll have some time for follow-ups as well. Coach, you tasked your team with 3 goals for this summer: to be more mentally and physically tough, be more connected, and to establish your culture. How do you feel you did in addressing those things this offseason?
Yeah, I think time will tell with that, obviously, as we get going with the season, but we feel good about where we're at right now. In terms of being mentally tougher, we lost some close games last year. And, in Mountain West play, you look no further than, the quarterfinal games and how close each of those games were, going into the semifinals the next day. I think each of them were decided by 2 points. And we were in quite a few of those games, both in the non-conference and also in Mountain West play. And so our guys are motivated, because of some of those tough losses that we experienced last year. And, we felt it was really important for us to really, invest a little bit more, work a little bit harder, put ourselves through some really tough situations over the summer and throughout the fall in order to prepare us, for what's to come. And our players did a great job, led by our strength and conditioning coach, Jimmy Stitz, who we think is dynamite and one of the best in the country, if not the best. And certainly that was something that we wanted to attack.
Coach Jesse Kurtz here. You lose one of the all-timers at Utah State, Justin Bean, and I'm curious, cutting into his production on the court, someone can somewhat fill into that, but I'm wondering, from the intangibles that he brought and all those things that you just talked about, the toughness and the effort and coming ready to go, where do you begin to cut into those intangibles that you lost?
Yeah, for sure. I think, the short answer to that is this program's always had players step up each and every year, and some that you might not expect. Justin Bean didn't come here a household name. He left here a legend, and it was a matter of working his way into that point. And he started out as a role player, and then became a go-to guy for us his senior year. The increase in production from his first 3 years to his last year. I think his first 3 years he averaged 9 points a game. His last year he averaged over 17. His three-point shooting increased significantly. I think he made 19 total in 3 years. His last season, he made 46 in 1 year and shot 47%. And so, that's what Utah State's basketball is all about. It's about improving each and every year, and then improving not only individually, but improving collectively. And so we feel we have the right players, here at Utah State, guys that have worked hard to get to where they are right now. We've got a great core group of captains. We've established 4 captains for our team. Rylan Jones, who obviously played dynamite for us last year. Sean Bairstow, even though he was hurt early in the season, really came on strong, throughout the remainder of the season. Once Brock Miller went out, they kind of exchanged, positions there. And then Stephen Ashworth obviously had some tremendous games for us this past year and has a really bright future. And then a newcomer. And it's rare that you would name a captain or name a newcomer a captain in Taylor Funk, but he's earned that. He's been here pretty much since the day he committed, and has hit the ground running, has connected with his teammates, and really earned his way within this team. And he's a 1,400-point scorer in college coming from St. Joe's. So we feel good about where we're at right now. Other guys that I didn't even mention that are captains right now have really improved from last year. And so I think it's a collective effort, and the guys understand that. It's about not one individual, but, our team overall.
Coach, we're going to open things up to our gathered media for questions. To the media that was just joined, go ahead and raise your hand on the Zoom toolbar. We'll get you queued up and get you called upon. Our first question for you, Coach, is from Mark Ziegler with the San Diego Union-Tribune. Mark?
Hi, Coach. I see in the media poll you're picked 8th, but then when I go to Kim Palm, which is historically been fairly accurate, you're the 3rd highest Mountain West team. It goes San Diego State, Wyoming, and then you. Which one are you? Are you the 3rd place team in this league, or are you the 8th place team?
Yeah, I have no idea, honestly. I think preseason polls are preseason polls. I think you have to earn your way into. You're either going to earn your way into a higher finish, or you're going to earn your way into a lower finish. And so we're nowhere right now, and none of us are, to be quite honest. And I think it's for us. We can't worry about where we're picked or what others think about us. We have to come in here with blinders on each and every day and worry about, are we taking care of, the little things that are going to help us become the best team that we can be? Are we a connected group? I mean, that's something that we talked about all summer. Are we going to be more connected than other teams that we play against? And we're off to a good start with that. But again, you know how it is. I mean, you can't worry about what others, think that you're going to do the rest of the year. You have to just go do it. And, we don't take offense to it, to being picked 8th, because we realize, that this league is really, really strong each and every year. There are great coaches in this league. They're great individual players, and they're great teams. And as evidenced by last year, I mean, it was just such a dogfight each and every night. And, we understand that. Our guys that are back from last year certainly understand that. They understand how hard it is, to finish at the top of the Mountain West. And so we want to pay it its due respect. And, we'll kind of see how things shake out as the season wears on.
What is the computer seeing that maybe the media isn't? What is it do you think you have in your team that allow you to be that high in computer metrics?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got a balanced team. I mean, this team last year, and the majority of our guards, really all of our guards, are back from last season, right? You look at it, Rylan Jones, Stephen Ashworth, Sean Bairstow, Max Shulga, RJ Idle-Rock, all of those guys, return a core group of guards from last season. And, last year's team was number 1 in the country in assisted field goals. Like over 60% of our field goals were assisted. We didn't shoot it well, quite honestly. And we feel like we have good shooters, and we're excited about, the opportunity to change that. I think overall, for the season, we shot it pretty well from 3, but not in Mountain West play. And, I think we were dead last, which was a bit of a surprise for us. But we still were first in assisted field goals, so we figured out a way, to, make up for the lack of, shooting the ball appropriately. And so I think certainly that's a factor. Our defense got way better as the year wore on. You just look at the last few games of the season, the Colorado State game, the last game of the year in the conference tournament. I think the score was 52-50. It was just a tight game. And teams learn more about one another, and as the season goes on, and our teams tend to get better as the year wears on, and certainly that's a goal of ours. You can't be the same as you are on October 15th, in March and expect to be, a champion or to have a chance at a championship. You've got to constantly improve each and every day and not have blinders on to, some of the holes that might be there in your team. And we try to attack our weaknesses, each and every day, but also, continue to work on our strengths, as well. And so, again, the numbers are the numbers, but nothing's happened at this point. There's a lot to be determined. There's teams that will be picked really low that will finish high. There'll be teams that will pick high that might not meet the expectations that initially are placed upon them. Across the country, I'm talking about, it just is the way it is. It's like that every season.
lot of interest and a lot of questions in queue, so we ask that you keep your questions to one question and a follow-up question for Coach Odom. Next up, Jason Walker, 106.9 The Fan in Salt Lake City.
Coach, you mentioned Taylor Funk, being a leader. What kind of role do you expect him to take on the court in terms of, leading, in terms of points, defense, or whatnot?
Yeah, I think he's an all-around player. Certainly he's known for his jump shot. When you see him shoot the ball, it's about as pretty as it gets. You always think it's going in, whether he's just shooting around with his teammates or he's actually in a game. But he's more than that. He's a rebounder. He's a guy that can, control the glass and rebound, his position. He's a guy that works hard to defend his position. He's a guy that moves off the ball really well. And, for me, as I look at him, he's kind of a taller Brock Miller, for us. He runs off of screens. He's about 6'8". He can sit behind screens and shoot the three. He can really pass the ball. And so I think certainly from, an offensive perspective, when you lose, two players in Justin Bean and Brandon Horvath who meant so much to us from an offensive production standpoint, it was important that we, sign someone in that position that had done it before, and he certainly has. And like I said before, he's hit the ground running from a personality standpoint, with his teammates. He gets along with everyone. He really wants to win. And, he's had, some individual success, coming from St. Joe's, but didn't win as much as he wanted to win. And so that was one of the reasons that, he chose to come out to Utah State, a winning tradition, a place where he felt like he could fit in. And I think the visit taught him that. He learned a ton about his teammates, while he was here that short amount of time, and he committed before he left, which was, he probably could have gone a lot of different places, throughout the country had he let that thing drag out a little bit longer. But he didn't do that. He found the right fit for him, and he took it when it was ready, and we're so happy that he did.
And just kind of follow up on a different player, Sean Bairstow took a step up last year. What kind of step forward have you seen him try and take this year?
Yeah, tremendous step forward. Certainly we saw it last season. He had a disjointed year. We felt so bad for him, all of us, and I know he was disappointed, in our blue and white scrimmage last year when he got injured, and that kind of derailed, the beginning of the season for him. He was playing lights out at that point. And to have to go back into, the injury protocol and be sitting on the sideline for that amount of time, was disheartening for all of us. But he handled it like a man. He was on the spot in terms of his rehab and staying true to that. Leah did a great job, and our doctors did a great job of getting him back. And then he was able to kind of get his feet wet and finish the year on a really positive note, in conference play. And became a reliable scorer, certainly in transition and his ball handling and passing. He could play with his back to the basket and go at matchups inside. And he's really developed his jump shot, over the course of this spring, summer, and fall, and has become a more confident shooter, from the perimeter. And I'm excited for our Aggie fans and those in the Mountain West to see him play this year.
Coach, next question for you comes from Sean Harrison from the Herald Journal-News.
Hey, Coach. You've kind of mentioned Taylor Funk a little bit, but what about some of the other new guys like Dan Aiken and Isaac Johnson? How have they fit in so far?
Yeah, both have fit in great, quite honestly. Obviously our coaching staff is most familiar with Dan. Dan played for us, at UMBC. He might even be, I think he and Marco, even though Marco, Anthony from, Utah used to be at Utah State. I think they may be the last two remaining players from that UVA-UMBC game. I think Marco was redshirting. Dan actually played in that game and started at center for us, but just a bit of history there. But Dan's been great. He did a great job. This past summer when he was able to join us. He's really hit the ground running. He's reunited with one of his buddies who he played with at UMBC and RJ Idlerock. And so they've had fun kind of being here together again. And Dan's a unique player. Dan's quite honestly a player that we were missing last year. He's a physical defender. He can guard multiple positions from the center to the point guard. He's improved his shooting. He's really fast and pretty athletic as well. And so he's somebody that, will be, a player that will be beneficial for, our program. Isaac's happy to be here. Isaac's, got tremendous size. He's coming from a really quality program, At Oregon, he's happy to be here at Utah State amongst, teammates and guys that he's been familiar with over the years from his time in Utah at American Fork. And, he's enjoying himself. Isaac's a skilled post player. He's a guy that can play with his back to the basket. He's a little bit like Horvath, I think, from a, long-term standpoint, maybe not right away. Brandon was in his 6th year, basically, when he played for us. And, Isaac's has just gotten back off of his mission, goes to Oregon, and now he's kind of getting his feet wet here at Utah State. And he's got a really bright future for us.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach, next question. It comes from Jeff Grammer with the Albuquerque Journal.
Hey, Ryan, I'm glad you already touched on Sean Bairstow. He's a guy I wanted to ask you about, having the big brother that played for the Lobos years ago. But I do want to ask you, you've been in a unique situation with NCAA tournament experience. Are you for or against expansion? I don't know that it would have gotten any more teams in, from your previous stop. But a year ago, you guys would have been in that realm of net numbers where you would have got in if they added another 20 or 30 teams. What do you think about NCAA tournament expansion?
Yeah, I haven't thought long and hard about it. They're certainly not going to ask me what I think. I don't believe. Maybe collectively they'll ask our coaches, but I'm all for student athlete experience, right? And there's something about playing in that tournament, and you see it every year. The disappointment in players. They go 4 years, they help a program build from the ground up, and then all of a sudden they get right to the end and they're right there, but they're in a one bid league, or maybe they're in a Mountain West type league where it's not a definite you're going to get 4 every single year. And to see the smiles on those kids' faces and see them experience what the NCAA tournament's all about, I would be for more getting in there, for sure. And how they do that, I have no idea, but I certainly would not be opposed to it.
Thanks.
Coach, last question for you comes from John Teetle from hoopshd.com.
Good morning, Coach. Last year you got to visit Annapolis, Conway, and Sioux Falls. This year you're stuck going to San Francisco, San Diego, and Honolulu. How excited is the team, and more importantly, how excited is your family?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's good scheduling. Coach Dixon, he got it done. No, we're excited about our schedule. We feel like we've put together a really tough schedule. Certainly our non-conference games at home, if you really dive into that and go look at it, each of the teams that are coming to Logan and playing in the Spectrum, some are picked first in their league. Certainly Oral Roberts, has a dynamite team. They're coming off of a Sweet 16 a couple of years ago, and Bradley. We open up with UVU, and we obviously know how good they are. Santa Clara comes to town. Coach Sendek, is one of the best coaches around, and so we feel like we've put together a really challenging schedule that'll benefit us as we get ready for Mountain West play. Playing a couple of neutral site games, against San Francisco and Loyola Marymount, and then obviously a road game at San Diego. Coach Lavin is taking over that program there, and I know we'll do great things. So, and then the trip to Hawaii is not something that I would want to do every single year, obviously, but over Christmas and taking your kids away from their families. But basketball is one of those sports that goes over 2 semesters, and so we try to do a trip every year, whether it's around Thanksgiving. Last year it was Myrtle Beach at that ESPN tournament. And this year it'll be Hawaii, and we're really excited about that. The majority of our players' families will be able to go to that and be there, and so it'll be a good celebration for us, as we get ready for, prior to Mountain West play. But, we are excited about the destinations that we're hitting and more importantly about the quality of the opponent that we're playing.
Coach, we'll let you go on that. Appreciate your time. I always love watching the way that your teams play and look forward to seeing them once again here in a little under a month in Logan. Appreciate your time today.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
You bet. That's Ryan Odom, the head coach of the Utah State Aggies. This is a team that, is right on the cusp, right? 4 teams got in last year. Jeff Grammer talked about, they're one of those teams that on the bubble maybe could have got in, but got into the NIT. And anytime you're able to play in postseason play, and especially a high level like the NIT, you get valuable experience. And you got some of the guys that are coming back that tasted that March Madness, so to speak, the postseason play, and certainly would like to take it one step further and be one of the teams that goes to the NCAA tournament here this year.
Absolutely. They were such an exciting team to watch last year. And Mark Ziegler made the point they're the 3rd highest ranked team in the Mountain West in the KenPom. And then in the Mountain West standings, they're ranked 8th. So, a lot of things up in the air, but this is a team that returns 3 starters, 8 letter winners, and they brought in a couple of transfers that can really make an impact this season.
Well, it's one of the best places in America to watch a college basketball game. Got to see them play against St. Mary's last year, and they were blowing the lid off that place. It's an awesome place to play. It's an awesome place to be a player, to get a chance to play at the Spectrum. With that said, let's bring in those players here for Utah State that join us live from Logan, Sean Bairstow and Rylan Jones. Fellas, appreciate you making time for us. Rylan, let's start with you. That taste of postseason basketball, Utah State really no stranger to playing beyond a conference tournament. But what did playing extra games at a high level in the NIT do to fuel the offseason to get you where you are today?
Yeah, no, it was super cool to have a home game in the NIT. The Spectrum was rocking that night. Probably one of our best crowds of the year. And, it just gave us a little bit of taste of what it's like to play in a postseason. But also the early exit kind of gave us that extra motivation for this summer and all the close games we lost last year. But that one in particular, we got a little bit of a taste of it, and now we're trying to get back and do better things. And our goal, is always to be the NCAA tournament.
Well, if you've got a question for our student athletes, please make sure to raise your hand to enter the queue. Sean, for you, dealt with an injury last season, able to come back, though, end the season on a positive note. Coach said this offseason that he's seen you really gain confidence in your perimeter shooting. Was that a focus for you this offseason?
Yeah, it was definitely a focus for me. I feel like I've always had it, but it kind of went away last year. So it's really just getting that confidence back and getting in the gym and getting the reps up and, just getting ready for this year.
Well, we've got a question for you both coming from Jeff Grammer from the Albuquerque Journal. Jeff?
Sean, big brother retires, hangs it up this past offseason. I'm curious if you've talked with him much about if he's going to be able to come see you play this year. And then I want to talk about just how you're heading into this next season and how your career has progressed from freshman to now, how you feel you've progressed.
I speak to Cameron a heap. Been a really good mentor for me for the past, three going on 4 years. His retirement, I'm happy for him. He had a great career. And this season, just looking to progress as a team. We got a really good squad, and everyone likes to play together. So the ball's going to be moving around. Everyone's going to be able to eat. Really excited for that.
Do you know if he's going to be able to come see you play this year?
Oh, yeah, my bad. He's going to come in January, and then I think he's going to go to San Antonio with his wife and then come back to senior night in March.
Very cool. Thanks, man.
If you have a question for our student athletes, you can go ahead and enter the queue. We'll get you called upon. Just raise your hand on the Zoom toolbar at the bottom of your screen. Rylan, Coach talked about you guys being number 1 in the country last season in assisted field goals. Is that a priority? Is that something that you guys talk about in practice and work on, that unselfish style of play, or does that just come naturally?
I think it's a little bit of both. We do talk about the power of the pass and how passing can create for our offense. And it's something, we look at it in film, and one of our coaches, Coach Crawford, that's like his favorite saying is the power of the pass. And then we're also just unselfish players, and it's kind of our play style. And it's also been the play style of Utah State teams in the past, so we're just kind of keeping the tradition going. And last year we were able to be the #1 team in assisted baskets, and looking to do the same this year.
We've got another question for you both coming from Jacob Nielsen with KSL in Logan.
Hey fellas, this is for either of y'all. Just last year, obviously, Brandon and Justin, they were really able to lead the team in a lot of production, and losing them, it seems like you had some guys in the front court, but it seems like the team is really on you guys in the backcourt and the experience that you have. Is there extra motivation in kind of the guard and small forward role for you, Sean, to really lead the team and produce for the guys?
Yeah, obviously, like we want to produce for the team and be the best players we can be, but that's really it. We want to be the best players we can be. We got a bunch of guys who are ready to step into bigger roles. So it's going to be a collective thing. Whoever scores the most points at the end of the day, we don't really care. It's about getting the wins at the end of the day, and that's what we're really worried about.
And then, Rylan, can I ask you, how fun is it to be in a backcourt that is so loaded and there's just so many of you guys that can step up and play big minutes?
Yeah, no, it's super good. Competitive practices, they make all of us better every day. And then, when you get in the game, it's just who's on that night, and you just kind of feed that hand, and we all love each other and cheer for each other. And, we're all ecstatic when, we throw one more and Steven makes a three, or we come off and, Max makes a three. Like, that's what we live for here in Logan. And, it's super fun to have, 5-6 really good guards in the backcourt.
Next question comes from Sean Harrison with the Herald Journal-News.
Hey, Rylan, just wanted to ask you a little bit about how these new guys are fitting in. Dan Aiken, Taylor Funk, Isaac. You got some big guys there. How are they fitting in with the team so far?
Yeah, Coach hit on it earlier. They're all fitting in great. Taylor, he committed on his visit and came out here like a week later, and his personality is great. We all get along with him. Isaac, he's from Utah, and a lot of us played with Isaac growing up, so we had that connection. And he came in and he meshed as well with everybody. And then same with Dan. Dan was a little bit newer. He only knew RJ, and he got here in the summer. And he just hit the ground running with all of us. We have a great team chemistry. Our culture is great here, and we get guys that fit our culture. And yeah.
What about Mason Falstaff? He's another kid, I guess I kind of keep forgetting a little bit. He's new, even though all the Cache Valley knows who he is. I mean, he's new to the team, new to the Aggies.
Yeah, it's Mason. He's one of a kind. He's funny. He just got a energetic thing about him that he just makes everybody laugh. He's always smiling. He never has a bad day. And he's one of my great friends growing up. Same with a couple guys on the team. And he just fits our culture, and he makes our culture better because of his personality and who he is.
Last question coming from John Teetle with hoopshd.com.
Good morning. My question is for Sean. You were a good three-point percentage shooter in 2021, but only 6 of 46 from behind the arc last year. So is that something that you really worked hard on during the offseason, or are you just giving up on it because it's not your shot?
Yeah, definitely not giving up on it. Worked really hard in the offseason just to get that confidence back and all that type of stuff. And, the coaches given me a lot of confidence to go and shoot the ball with confidence. So, yeah, I'm ready to let it fly.
Well, Sean, Rylan, thank you both so much for joining us today for Men's Basketball Media Days. Excited to see you and the Aggies get after it this season. I still need to come experience that Spectrum magic. I have not been up to see that crowd yet, but I've heard it's the second to none. So I'm excited to see what you and the Aggies can get going this season.